About the band, huh? Forecast, aren't they awesome? It's really been, one of the things I've really enjoyed about tonight is seeing all the youth. The ZTV, Ball State, the scholarship winners. Isn't it great to see the young ones here? No? You don't care? Come on, they got a glow. I mean, look at the scholarship winners back there. That glow coming to your phones because you're all texting and twittering. You know, 10 minutes ago, they're like, we're surrounded by old people. Hashtag cellulite. Well, stick with us, kids, because if you stick with this long enough, you can be part of the next category. This Gold and Silver Circle Awards significant contributions to our industry for 50 and 25 years, respectively. And tonight, we have two members that are going to that distinguished group. And here to present our first member is WOIO News Director Fred D'Ambrosi.
Guess who I'm doing? So I'm pleased to introduce Carl Monday for his induction into the Silver Circle. I want to start with one question. What took so long? It's supposed to be after 25 years. It's now been about 40. It's kind of like the Rock Hall deciding that, you know, we really don't need to get Jimi Hendrix in right away. I think we could wait a little bit. So I think he's up in about 3 years for the Gold Circle, so maybe we could double up today. So I'm here introducing a man who needs no introduction, who turned this article of clothing into a trademark, a decision I think he regrets this time of year when the temperature hits about 90. I'm regretting it now. Carl's a symbol of Cleveland, like the Guardians of the Terminal Tower. The Daily Show came here to spoof him. A Florida minor league ballpark had Carl Monday night. If you wore a trench coat and put on a mustache, you got in for free. In Chicago, they celebrated Carl Monday Halloween, which is very, very scary. I've been working with Carl for about 2.5 years now, but my first memory of Carl dates back to 1984 when I was a producer at WKYC. And I remember one afternoon, the newsroom, the evening newscasts were on. No one was watching our show because Carl was on confronting George Forbes about not paying his $400 water bill. And about that time, George said that he threatened to wrap a camera around Carl's head. So a legendary story, and it's always bad when no one's watching your news in your own newsroom. I didn't know Carl then, but I know him now. And what sets Carl apart is his tenacity, his refusal to settle. And he asks one more question, he does the one more phone call, he gets the extra shot. You know, the example, and it didn't win, by the way, but Carl's story about the meters in Cleveland. A guy calls the station and says, I got a ticket at this meter, but it didn't run out, and they told me, oh, there's a sign above it that says no parking anytime. So why is there a meter at a place where there's no parking at any time? Carl, of course, gets the guy's money back and then gets the money back for all the people who parked there. I can't remember how many there were, but many. The city agreed to return their money, which is a pretty good day's work. But in typical fashion, Carl doesn't stop there. He pursues a municipal court administrator who was ruling on the fines and finds out that the guy was cheating and taking his own traffic tickets and processing them to make sure that he didn't pay any fines that he had outstanding for years. He's now been fired. He's pleaded guilty to a felony, and he's about to be sentenced later this month. That is the Carl Monday added bonus on a basic story. You get the Miracle Steamer, the Ginsu knives, and the cookbook, plus free shipping. I've also gotten to know Carl as a person. He's a rocker. He's been in his share of Rock and Roll Hall of Fame inductions. He's a team player who respects and cares about his coworkers. He makes breakfast for his wonderful wife, Sandy, most mornings, 42 years. And he won't eat anything unhealthy because he's afraid that she'll kick his butt. We're at a time in our history when we need more good journalism. Carl paved the way and continues to look out for the little guy and the little gal, holding the powerful accountable. He's committed to the highest principles of broadcast journalism. The Silver Circle recognizes individuals who've made a significant contribution over the past 25 years to our craft, and I think Carl Monday exceeds that standard. So I'm proud tonight to introduce him into the Silver Circle, and here's a sample of his work.
On the way to work every day, I'd be listening to radio news.
Give us 30 minutes, we'll give you the world.
So I kept listening, and the guy's name was Carl Monday.
Criminal charges may be brought against at least 2 building inspectors.
He had stories that nobody else had. I actually picked up the phone, and I called him. And I said, Carl, this is Virgil Dominic. I think you're fantastic, and I want you to come to work for us.
Cleveland's undisputed best investigative reporter, Carl Monday, and he's only on Fox 8.
The lasting legacy, I think, of Carl, without Carl, hundreds, maybe thousands of stories would never have been reported.
Perfectly good winter coat.
Carl Monday caught a clerk of courts official stealing money.
Once and for all, can you tell us how you spent the money?
Here's what's happening. Heads began to roll today.
Kickbacks, ghost employees, falsification of records.
These stories did get results. People got fired, laws were changed, laws were created, people started doing things differently.
It was the I-Team's Carl Monday who first documented Jennifer's deadly pill-pushing practice.
This plea is extremely significant. It's the first time in Ohio that a doctor has admitted his guilt causing the death of another person.
I-Team reporter Carl Monday was first to uncover the bearing of hazardous waste at Hopkins.
The state attorney general moved quickly today to shut down a multi-million-dollar carpet cleaning company.
How could you scam these people like that?
Last night, our I-Team reporter Carl Monday exposed the director of a local hunger center who is robbing from the poor people of her own community. Today, Mary Mitchell was arrested at the hunger center by sheriff's detectives.
It is the biggest consumer settlement of its kind in United States history, and it all began with the Carl Monday I-Team report.
First at 6, the axe has fallen on the Cleveland Fire Department.
Disciplinary actions that are going to be taken against 5 fire officials.
Carl's one of the guys that I call the pure guys. He's always done his work based on principle, based on what is righteous.
We're talking about political pork, the pet projects and wasteful spending of your tax dollars here in the nation's capital.
The stories were not only good journalism, I think, but they were somewhat entertaining.
So you say you want to be a Cleveland police officer. This is the story of the police imposter. Was there any physical contact between you two?
None whatsoever.
Your bodies didn't touch?
There was none whatsoever. God, I should drop dead on this spot.
Officer Gates swapped his police uniform for a softball uniform. A member of the CPD in his BVDs. Did you ever hear the expression, caught with your pants down? Did you ever hear that expression?
No. Part of, I think, his appeal is that he doesn't look like an aggressive investigative reporter. It sort of lulls people into thinking, you know, I can handle this guy. And then the next thing you know, my gosh, you know, he changes from a puppy to a bulldog.
You're not welcome here. Get off my porch, please.
I mean, it's obvious
Get
that...
off my porch. Get off my porch.
It's obvious
Get
you
off
don't live
my
here.
Porch.
What chance does trouble have when they bump into Carl Monday?
Come down here and talk to us like a councilman should be.
About as much chance as Sonny Corleone in a toll booth.
What about people that get assaulted on the street?
The confrontation with George Forbes was classic. It was textbook.
So, of course, you know, Carl goes in with the camera rolling and completely surprises George Forbes and starts asking him questions.
You don't have money to pay a $400 water bill?
No big problem, you know. City ain't gonna go bankrupt.
And George hit the ceiling. He was so angry.
Now, I gave you a goddamn answer.
And I asked you a follow-up question.
I gave you a answer. Now, one of these days, I'm gonna kick your and it might be this goddamn one. Now, you got your answer. Now get out of my goddamn face.
Thank you.
And oh my gosh, when that story hit the air, it was absolutely unbelievable.
Now I'll take the camera and wrap it around your goddamn head.
I have no doubt in my mind, if he wanted to, he could have become a national reporter.
Shame on you!
From Cleveland, investigative reporter Carl Monday busts a postal workers party.
I mean, he could have gone to any of the networks.
I want to go right to Carl Monday from Cleveland's WJW. He's got the I team, and he's one of the best in the nation.
To this day, I could still see Carl Monday doing 60 Minutes. He's that kind of a talent.
Did you ever accept any payments from any subcontractors?
He has that style. He never gives up on his story.
His trademark, his trench coat. His reputation, his name.
We are happy to welcome a Cleveland television institution.
Aren't you afraid you're going to kill somebody?
Channel 3 News, huh?
Yeah.
Carl Monday's I-Team is coming over here on Lakeside Avenue.
Hey, Carl!
Get away.
Hey, let it go, man.
I'll break this motherfucker. Get away.
You let it go.
Get away.
That's bullshit, son of a...
I said get out of here. Get the hell out of here. Now.
If you don't get the away from me,
Okay.
if y'all don't get the away from me, I'll you up, Carl Monday. Get away from me.
All right.
Get away from me, Carl Monday.
Now, Carl Monday, a Cleveland legend, working for you in Ohio's best newscast.
You leave that. You keep your hands off our equipment.
Then get the off my property.
How do you even know what we're...
Get the off me.
Hang on. Where you... I ain't getting away from you. You're going to answer our questions here.
Carl's impact on local TV journalism? I don't know that there'll ever be another one.
The most recognizable face in Cleveland. Witness Carl Monday, only on Ohio's best newscast.
And this recognition tonight is merely one reflection of the love and respect that this community has for you. So on behalf of all of us throughout the greater Cleveland community, congratulations.
You've done a lot of good for people, and all I can say is God bless you.
Thank you very much, Carl Monday.
He will go down as one of the greatest Cleveland reporters of all time. I have no doubt about that.
Carl Monday, my man. He's my man. You need to back him up. Power to the people.
Please welcome Carl Monday to the Silver Circle.
I'm just going to hold this all night if you don't mind. You know, all those stations that I was at charged me for all those microphones that So how do you like Fred on the trench coat? Pretty good, huh? Real cool. It's at the cleaners. Now, if Fred would only grow a mustache, we'd look exactly alike. Fred doesn't know it, but and don't tell him. Keep it between the two of us. I recorded that on hidden camera. So, everybody good tonight? Anybody like another drink? Because my sources say that 3, 5, and 8 are buying tonight. So, I've been told to keep this short because I don't know. They said my video went too long or something. Yeah, my producers are over there saying, like, that's never happened. It's a true story. You know, our stories run about, typically a news, about a minute and a half. So this was at Fox 8, and I went in to tell my news director that I had completed my story, and he said, Carl, well, how long is it? I said, 11 minutes. And he said, Carl, you do realize now that there's only 12 minutes of news content in an entire newscast, and you just took up 11 minutes. Before I go any further, I want to congratulate my old colleague, Tom Meyer. Tom, it's been a while since Tom has been at the Emmys. Tom, for a while, we thought maybe you were in the witness protection program, but congratulations. You've had a great run here, and you certainly deserve your award tonight. Personally, it's been a wild ride. Over 40 years of investigative reporting. I did my first radio newscast in 1969, so it's 60s, 70s, geez, forget that. but it's been 40 years at least of, you know, impossible deadlines, million-dollar lawsuits, death threats, and angry advertisers. And now you know why I love this job. It's, like the time when I met a guy, he calls me up and he says, let's meet. Okay, so I meet the guy. It's, you know, a Wendy's parking lot. I meet in the back of his Chevy Malibu. It's 2:30 in the morning. Only then do I find out that this guy's a hitman who was hired to kill a partner of a Cleveland police officer. So, you know, we worked together and put the guy in prison. Man, those are the good old days. But thankfully, we have a lot of loyal viewers who make it all worthwhile, like the one who wrote me recently and said, Carl, you're nothing but a weasel. You're lucky nobody spits in your face. So we got that going for us. I do feel fortunate, though, for a number of reasons. One, that I came up during the Watergate years when we all in the business wanted to be like Woodward or Bernstein, or in my case, I wanted to be like Mike Wallace. Also lucky to be doing what I love to do best in the town that I grew up in, so that's great. But more than anything, I've been surrounded by great people, including the folks you saw in that video. Virgil Dominic, thank you so much for, you know, hiring me on a leap of faith. I didn't even have an audition tape, and he just hired me just with a phone call. Safe to say that I wouldn't be standing here tonight if it weren't for Virgil Dominic, so thank you, Virgil. Mark DiMarino, thanks for coming tonight. My old friend from Kent State and producer at Fox 8. Mark was instrumental in many, many of the major investigations we did over at Channel 8. Thank you, Mark. And of course, Avery Friedman, noted civil rights attorney and CNN commentator. Thanks, Avery, for all that career advice and for our shared love of rock and roll. So, I also want to give a shout out to my current team, Cassie Nist, Misty Stiver, and Devin Lamb. You guys really are the best. You're great. And thanks for all your hard work. And thanks for not complaining when I go on and on about the golden age of investigative reporting. You know, when we typed scripts on manual typewriters, and we actually made phone calls out of telephone booths. I really want to thank Fred and the Cleveland 19 management for their support, even though sometimes, yeah, we can be a royal pain in the ass. And just a couple of personal notes. I want to say hi to our empty nester downtown friends, Tom and Kalani. Thanks for joining us tonight. But just don't get the idea that this is what we do all the time. You know, we don't just sit around and drink and give each other awards. Thanks also to my late mom and dad. Mom taught me to be a good talker. Dad taught me to be a good listener. Of course, in my house, my dad never got a chance to talk. So, then finally, to my dear wife, Sandy. We met at People Power Radio 43 years ago, and we're still going strong. In fact, just a coincidence, George Forbes, who was the star of that video, Sandy and I went out just for a little cocktail last night and a couple of hors d'oeuvres. It was a nice night. And who do we see sitting in front of Johnny's on the patio? But it was George Forbes. I swear, I have it on my telephone if you don't believe me. And he said he wished he could be here tonight, but obviously he couldn't make it. But Sandy, again, thanks for being there every step of the way. I love you very much. But I better stop here because if I go any longer, they will have to give me the Gold Circle Award and not the silver. And besides, the director of tonight's show told me if I don't get off the stage in a timely fashion, that he was going to grab that bleeping camera and wrap it around my bleeping head. So, thanks to all of you, and thanks to NATAS for this award. Thank you very much.